This podcast is powered by The Plug. The Connect with Graffiti.
My man, Lano.
What up, though?
What's up, brother?
Everything, man.
Everything. It's all up.
It's all up from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How you doing? How's your mentals?
They good, man. I think that's a day-to-day thing. So it's a great question. You know what I'm saying? But right now, this moment with you up in here, I feel great for sure.
Nice. Bet. So you my guy. This is a long time in the making. I'm glad we got it to happen.
Yeah.
But for the people who don't know, this is a loaded question, but who is Lano?
Whew, that is a loaded question. Well, I mean, in no particular order, I would say I'm an artist, creator, right? And I'm a father, a husband, a neighbor, you know what I'm saying, and a friend to many. So that's really who I am, man. And all the hats, all the responsibilities that fall under those titles is just really what I just kind of embody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said a neighbor. I ain't never heard that one.
Yeah, I know, huh?
That means you a good neighbor for real.
Yeah, you need good neighbors, man.
That's real. I ain't never even seen my next door neighbor. So to be like a neighbor, that's real. That's what's up.
Yeah.
On top of all that, man, you make music. You're an artist.
For sure.
Yeah, artist is an understatement. I mean, you have substance. You are a message carrier through your music.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the music, man. What got you into music?
Well, I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
And my mom remarried in like early 2000s. So then I transitioned, right? And within that transition, I didn't know nobody, didn't have no homies. And my brother Juvenile had just dropped 400 Degrees that year. And that was all I had. I was just listening to that over and over and over and over. And I think within that, I started journaling where music started for me, just writing down my thoughts, frustrations, feelings of this new place. And I think that's really where the journey started. And then I heard Jay-Z's verse on the bonus track for Ha.
Yeah.
And I had never heard, because from the South, you didn't really dabble in too much East Coast. And so when I heard that, I was like, damn, I ain't never really, heard nobody rapping like this.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of sparked something in me. And I think from there, it became like a skill that I wanted to sharpen.
Right.
Versus just like me just writing down how I feel.
You was just like, I think I could do this.
For sure, man.
Yeah. So it was that lyricism from Jay-Z.
Yeah.
That's the contrast of that is crazy, because coming from the South,
yeah,
you're listening to Juvie, and I never even really thought about it like that, but Juvie and Jay-Z, that's such a contrast.
Major, bro.
Yeah.
It was a magical moment, really. When I heard that, I was like, "What the hell is?" Because Juvie got that twang about him in the South, and Jay-Z was very like structured, kind of like cadence, and it was just like it was different for sure.
Yeah, so that sparked it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Tell me about if you want to go back that far, just growing up in the South around that time, if you have them early memories.
Yeah,
just
I do.
The differences and how that helped breed you.
Well, it was a culture shock moving from Louisiana to Denver for sure. But the South was in that era was very fast, just like it is now. But I think like the rest of the world is becoming fast too, because of social media. But it was very fast in the sense of like being a child growing up in the South. You just got exposed to a lot of things early on in life, and so then when I think about a Juvenile and things like that, to have that album, it really spoke to how I was homesick and like what my roots were, right? But growing up in the South is a very unique space, man, because in my roots I'm very hospitable. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of compassion for people, and that's an testament to my grandparents coming up in those Southern roots, right?
Right.
And so I don't think I would be the person I am without the South being my initial start in life.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I can't pinpoint the first time I met you, but you give off a certain energy, and it's definitely that Southern hospitality. And that stands out in Colorado like heavily because it's so opposite.
Yeah.
Not to say like, we're not like a New Yorker, nothing like that.
For sure.
But the vibe is just different. So you could tell when somebody had them Southern roots, aside from the accent, of course. But just talking about that, man, just kind of just your energy and just your outlook on life. And I think that's what kind of attracted, and connected me with you. Is just I feel like we have kindred spirits.
For sure.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that, just kind of how you maneuver through the world.
I think I would maneuver in a space of like seeing me, right? Like I don't think too high of myself, and I don't think too low of myself, right? So I find a good space in the middle. But for me to be able to do that, it's like I really got to be seeing myself through and through. Like what am I great at? What am I good at? What am I not so good at? And what are the things that like I am not the one for that shit, right? So to know those things, it allows me to just move in the world of a space where like I can see you, right? So my energy comes into a space of like, it's almost like we cousins. It's how I approach things, or we childhood homies.
Right.
If we don't have the same melanin, right? And I think how I'm able to do that is because I see myself, so I don't look at other people's for their flaws, right? Or what may not be right with them. It's just more or less like, now meet people where they at when I meet them, right? And that's just kind of how I move in every room, man. Like I show up as myself. I don't never really go places looking to be fulfilled, right?
Right.
I'm more or less going to spaces like, how can I serve? Like, what kind of servitude could I offer? Like, if you're good at something, okay, how can I enhance what my boy got going on?
Right.
And it's usually how I show up in space, because I just feel like I'm already covered. You know what I'm saying? That could be me trying not to hit the ceiling of thinking too hard, but I feel like I think I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'd rather show up in the space of like, what can I do for you?
Right.
And fill my cup like that, you know?
Be used more as a vessel.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So you got a track. So new album, matter of fact, Us.
Yes, sir.
That just came out. Let's talk about the album before
about
I get to the tracks and all that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. What was the mindset making that album?
Ooh, man, a lot of time is the first thing that comes to mind, right? But really, man, I was in a transition of, because I've been doing music writing music and creating music for over 15 years, right? And I think within the last couple of years, I really just started to pursue it. So this album was in a space of like, we used my son as a cover art. And the reason I did that was because when my wife we found out she was pregnant with him, like I was still at corporate America working a 9 to 5, or, you know, I was salary at that point. So just putting in all the hours. But I hit a breaking point, man, of just like, I don't want to be doing this for too much longer, right? And having that time off with my son while she was pregnant, I started writing, man. And the first song I wrote off the album was Beautiful. And after I wrote that, it was just like, damn, I think I need to jump off the porch, for real. And it was just like a moment of like, can you do it? Will you do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just really was in a space of just challenging myself, man, because I'm like, time is only moving. My other 2 kids are getting older, and I got another baby, and this is the last one. So it's like, what am I really doing as far as like making my mark to show my kids, or to talk to my kids about what I did during my time on the planet?
Right,
you know
right. So speaking of that, I believe it's the first track.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
So clear? Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of it, you was talking to your son, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He's talking a lot about knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's my bag right there, that type of talk.
Yeah.
So just as a father, how important is that just to instill them principles into your kids? Especially, you know, coming from where you're from, elements and all that, now at this age, looking back, like just that knowledge.
I think it's important, man, because I don't think we have enough leaders in the next round of life, or whatever, however you want to look at generation, right? So, so for my kids, it was like, God forbid something happened to me and I can't be here to continue to guide them on. And that's usually the natural flow of life. You know what I'm saying? The kids are going to outlive the parents, right? Is what you really want. And so for me, it was like, what can I do to leave behind like just real tools for my kids, as if they was asking me questions through like they day-to-day life experiences of growing and struggling through things. So in that album, I just tried to capture like, what have I learned thus far, right? And then how can I present this to my kids? Essentially, is kind of who I wrote it from, of just like, how can I pass these tools on to them? Because I know these are things that are going to be life tools, like to have knowledge, to have the wisdom, to have understanding, you know what I'm saying, of your surroundings and the people you're dealing with. Those are going to be the things that you can take into any career path, any relationship you have. And I just was like, you know, my grandparents gave me core values, and being in the South, you know, they was just big on manners and respect and all that. So it's like, I look at myself, I'm like, well, I think I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, I got to make sure I get this back to my kids, right? Like, I got to make sure I'm breaking myself down, so it makes sense for me to talk to them about it when the shit comes for them to be dealing with.
For sure, definitely. So kind of switching up a little bit, just talking about being an artist and being in the entertainment industry. So I personally have this like internal conflict sometimes, right? Where there's certain moves you got to make and certain things you got to do to maintain an image in the culture, especially in entertainment. You know, like I've never really been an extroverted person, but I kind of have to be in the position that I'm in. I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. You know what I mean? Like I be chilling, but I have to be in the public a little bit. And you know, with rap especially, there's this persona that you kind of have to uphold. I think we're breaking it down a little bit now as we start to evolve as people. But I kind of see that with you. Like, I don't look at you as, oh, I'm finna see Leno at the club popping bottles and doing all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do you feel like that hinders you in any way? Not being in the scene so much?
Nah, because I was once outside, right?
Yeah.
Not as an artist per se, but I was once outside, just a consumer.
Yeah.
In the mix, in the life, in the lights, you know what I'm saying? Doing it all right. And after getting married and then having kids, it kind of changed my perspective of just like, all right, I got to buckle down. I got to see what really am I doing out here. And so, you know, my artistry goes hand in hand with my real life, right?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of the music industry is a lot of entertainment, right? And for me, it was like I had to find a healthy balance of like, how do I entertain people, but also be real with myself and still be growing outside of writing raps. Right. So it really doesn't, me in the club and popping bottles don't really align with my day-to-day life. So it doesn't make me feel like I'm missing out. It was really a space that I had to pull away from really so I can lock in on myself. I was like, you know what? I'm not finding no fulfillment in that. So I got to get away from it.
Yeah.
And make my own lane, really. And so what that's taught me too, separating it and still having success, right, within the industry, is just like, you really got to just be a trailblazer. I mean, that's really all it's about. Somebody trailblaze the space for rappers in the club to be a thing, right? And that's gonna always be. I don't think it'll ever really go away of just like that imagery of like
that
the party life, right?
Yeah.
But then I think there's another side of the story that needs to be told that isn't being told from the rap artist's perspective of like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of niggas got kids.
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got a girl at the house. You know what I'm saying? May got another job that they using to provide all the other things, right? So for me, it was just like reality versus what's going on around me.
That's real. That's real. So off the mic, we was talking about Andre 3000. So speaking of trailblazing and what he's doing, you know, with the Flute album and all that. And I personally think it's beautiful. Like even as a big hip hop head, I also love music. But beyond that, I think it's opening another portal for us right now for exactly what you said.
Yeah, bro.
Like when he's saying, you know, what am I going to rap about? You know what I mean? Like of course he got things to rap about.
Of course.
And we want to hear
what's going on.
But there is the culture of niggas don't want to hear me washing clothes today. You know what I mean? But that's real life.
It's real life.
It's real life. And so I love the fact that he was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I feel. And I think that's about to start opening a few doors.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
We need it. Like I like I told you off the mic, it was just like I just love how he just kind of disrupted things with that, because it's like people will have these expectations of you, but it's really like, what are your expectations?
Yeah.
So what of myself? Because at the end of the day, when the lights go off and I lay down and close my eyes, like I'm the one trying to get myself to go to bed with ease, right? Not about pleasing the audience.
Yeah.
Like I saw an interview a while back and they talked about like the audience is last. I don't know, it might have been Rick Rubin, but he was like, that's last in this creating process. Like even for you with what you work with the connect, right? Like this starts with you first, right? And then it gets to the consumer at the very end. It's got to go through editing. Everybody's got to touch it or whatever the case, right? So I just feel like we should. I love what Andre's done, because it's like, we should just be creating from a blank canvas versus like I'm looking at what's on your paper to be like, well, Graffiti's got success. I'm gonna dress like him, be like him.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily equal success though. Like like to be an individual, the ones who stood out, like it's so perfect that he was a part of Outkast.
Yeah.
Right. And he's still living up to that.
Yeah. If anything, it's more on brand than anything.
Man, without a doubt, bro.
For him to drop a typical rap album, I'm like, come on, bro.
Bro, this dude gave us Idlewild. I think people forget that, right? That was not a rap album.
What is it? The top selling hip hop project is Hey Ya.
Come on, man.
That's not rap.
That ain't rap.
Yeah.
This dude he's been dancing out the lines with it.
So with that, man, just finding success and figuring out what success looks like for you. Let me ask you that question. What does success look like for you as a man, as an artist? Just what is your ideal scenario for everything you're doing right now at the end of the day?
Ideally, I just want to make some impact, right? And inspire whoever's watching me on my journey. That's like big level. But I mean, we just want to be in a space where my natural God-given talents are what's putting the bread on the table. Because that's my gift, and my gift, I just want to share it. Right. So, and then also to be able to have a good balance between, through creating and just my home life.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want to draw a hard line between the two of just like, oh, I can't be around for these memorable moments because I got to go do a club appearance. It's like really one of my mantras is just like, if my kids can't go, I usually don't want to be there.
That's real.
Right? Like I don't feel complete. You know what I mean? Because I take being a dad and a provider in my house very serious. You know what I'm saying? Just as serious as I take being an artist. So I really have to find a way, how do I combine the two? And I think I've been able to do that up to this point, and that feels like success to me, man.
Yeah.
To just still have a family and pursuing this childhood dream of mine.
That's beautiful, bro. And it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Again, we're a lot alike. I put home first no matter what. And that's a good way to put it. If my kids can't go, I probably wouldn't.
I probably can't go. So really, I be trying to throw a lot of my things, like, we've been kind of mapping stuff out, but like a lot of the events that I've thrown and that I throw, like I really try to make it a space where it's kid friendly. I mean, one, my music doesn't really evoke like negativity anyway, right? It's not really, parental advisory is advised.
Yeah.
But but it's not something that a kid couldn't figure out if he was just listening to it, like, is this dude telling me to go do something crazy? It's not that, right? And so the events that I've even thrown in person is just like, I try to make it kid friendly. Like I try to do things at a good time of day to where I was like, people could bring their kids because I understand how it works. Like there's nap time, you know what I'm saying? There's practices, all these things that we too as a family be doing.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm very cognizant of that. Now there's gonna be things, and there has been things where kids can't come, but for the most part, it's like I want kids to be able to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what's funny about that, man? I was about to rap, but that just made me think of something. I was just watching Nick Cannon on Diary of a CEO, and he was talking about something similar. He was talking about how the culture always, looked down on the fact that he was on Nickelodeon and doing like kids stuff.
Right.
But, the family market is such a billion-dollar industry. Look at Disney. Look at like entertaining an entire family.
Yeah,
is really what's going to get you, if that's what you aspire. That's what's going to get you the bag
for sure.
At the end of the day, because if
ain't nobody left out.
Exactly. If you're having family reunions or something, you're going to go to that person that's not about to evoke certain negativity. So that's actually a great lane to be in, for sure. So last two questions for you. You can go back, talk to young Lano right now, and give him just one solid piece of knowledge. What would that be?
Hey man, trust your gut, man. / don't follow.
Yeah. That's easy.
Yeah, that's what I would tell him.
Word. Cool. And then the last one. So, we're going to close it with some music. What would be that one track? It don't even have to be you. It could be you for promotional reasons, of course.
Of course.
Fan of your own music.
What we gonna plug?
But that one track, that one artist, whatever, that's just your go-to when you need some motivation, whether you just need to set the vibe. What is that track? And we'll end it on that.
Ooh. Let me do two.
Yep.
It's So Clear, which is the #1 song on my album right now.
That's my favorite one.
And then it would have to be Juvenile, Set It Off. Because it just embodies something. It just turns up my spiritual animal in me.
Word.
Like that's what get me going. Like I can listen to that song a million times on repeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bet. So we're going to play So Clear and Juvenile, Set It Up. That's funny. That's funny.
Spectrum, right?
That's Spectrum, right? That's full circle. My man, Lano, appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Cool.